So we'll begin. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for joining. My name is Ijoma Okibo. I'm a sports journalist. I'm also founder of Girls Aspire Sports Initiative. It's actually an initiative that just aimed at mentoring and empowering girls through sports. I got a partnership with the Nigerian Cricket Federation, and thankfully they've been helpful. In fact, we have girls which the NCF and I train on how to play cricket. We have Jamal here. Jamal is our coach. The NCF has been good. So this is the reason why we are here. So meaning Girls Aspire is a stakeholder when it comes to cricket. Now, I think let's talk about female cricket, maybe female football, maybe female basketball, but about female cricket, I feel there's not much of a media searchlight on it. And I think it's an opportunity. It's better during this lockdown, and this is an avenue for us to talk about it. Now, thankfully, we have so many experts, great experts, who will be our panelists today. We have players, we have general manager, we have the president of a federation who is also a vice chairperson of the AC of the African Cricket Association. We have a fitness expert here with us. We also have a journalist. So there's a wide range of intellectuals, talking about female cricket. Now, let's begin. I think I'll begin with the GM. The General Manager of the Nigerian Cricket Federation, Mr. Emeka Iwilu. Mr. Emeka, are you on?
Quite on. I'm on. Yeah, go on. Go on. I'm listening.
Hello, Mr. Emeka.
I can hear you.
Okay. So let's begin with you. How far will you say is the development of female cricket in Nigeria?
Yeah, I will say it's still at a growing stage. Female cricket is not as long established as male cricket. In Nigeria, the game was introduced in 1904. All male activities up to the 90s until the female cricket started coming in, and a lot of approach to female involvement in the game, because it was taken as an all male affair. Even in the language, cricket is a gentleman's game, so it tries to kind of exclude the female gender. But in the wisdom of ICC, the International Cricket Council, they purely understood that you cannot develop one section without the other. So that's why they've encouraged countries to go into the female version of the game. And since we started the female version of the game, it has been tremendous, because the advantage you have is that when you have a female playing, it indirectly attracts the men, attracts the family, attracts the children. So whatever form you want to take, having cricket extended to the female gender is a very big advantage for the growth of the game. So it's in the wisdom of ICC, they've tried to let every country do that. And we have keyed in. Right now, the Nigeria Cricket Federation is making every effort to balance the weight. Before, it used to be male version about 95% and female version 5%. But now Nigeria Cricket Federation is making efforts to get it up to at least 60-40. If we're able to have the male version 60-40, the 60 and the female version 40, gradually we get to the expectations of ICC, which is 50-50. Right now we have under 15 girls, we have under 17 girls, and we have senior team, female. But we also have a league that has come up. We have a national women's league in Nigeria, and a state has also gone ahead of others to start their own state league, which is Edo State. Edo State has got a version of their own state league for females. That shows that female cricket has come to stay. And we are also making efforts. Before, you hardly hear of female coaches. Now we have female coaches. I'm happy that A-Team is there. A-Team is a player. She still plays, and also a coach in the state. And we at NCF level. NCF has also approved the introduction of female department, which hasn't been in existence. Now we now have a female department. That means when the game is being developed, the central body is developing the overall game, but we have a section of people who will take care of the female gender to make sure they play the game. Not only that we have a female.
Jim, all right, with
Okay.
all of this you have said, I think that funding should be a great challenge, right?
Yeah.
How exactly are you trying to attract sponsors to cricket, knowing that cricket in Nigeria is not as big as football?
Yeah, yes, funding is always an issue when it comes to development of the game, not only cricket. We in Africa we have a peculiar case. We cannot compare ourselves to what is happening in Europe and other countries. Also, we have a challenge of even some of the companies, when they want to invest, they feel they want to invest where they will make returns for their investment. So you can't blame them. And there are some banks, you can talk of banks, you can talk of some companies, they want to invest, they won't even like to invest. They will look at, okay, how can they over-concentrate on football, neglecting other sports? So it's a big challenge, but what we have continued to do now is to reach out through awareness, through marketing, and the female version is now helping, because we see some companies that have interest in female development, some ministries that have interest in gender equality, now trying to now come in. How can they help? So that will help in the funding. I would say it has improved much, but we are now getting support that we can leverage on to make sure the funding issue is not a big problem. The government is absolutely helping through the assistance, through giving the enabling environment. So you cannot equate the value of what they're also giving us, because they provide the facilities for us to also use. So I would say that funding will gradually improve, so long as the awareness is there, so long as we try to make sure we also develop the human sector, which is what we are doing, male and female version. Thank you.
All right, talking about awareness, let's speak to Sarah. Sarah Owera. Sarah is the captain of the Rwandan team. Sarah, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, tell us, what was your experience like, picking up cricket as a young girl?
It wasn't easy, but I was lucky to be among the new generation, which is which has started to know the value of the woman, but it hasn't reached on that level as we want. But together we can make it better than how it is now. But when I started cricket, my parents didn't really understand it. As a girl, they were saying that I'm supposed to be at home helping my mother with the work, but little by little they started to understand that a lady can also attend and engage herself in sports, do sports, and as they say, if their body is healthy, even the mind gets healthy. So it will help me to perform in other activities too.
All right, thanks, Sarah. The last time you were here in Nigeria with your team, that was January last year. You guys engaged in your team and the Nigerian team, participated in this bilateral series. Then, how much, aside your rankings, we saw that your rankings actually improved. How much aside the rankings has improved, when it comes to playing, when it comes to cricket in your team and cricket in the country, female cricket?
The rating has improved. We have really improved as our federation has started to help women in cricket, to help our cricket, the cricket for women to improve, to get on a higher level. So we are doing our best also to show them that we can be reliable, or we are so committed to play, to bring Rwanda cricket to another level.
Okay, nice. Blessing. Hi, Blessing.
Hi.
Okay, Blessing. Some countries have been relaxing lockdown, in sports, but here in Nigeria, we are still at where we are. No sports yet. So how do you train? Tell us.
Well, during this COVID-19, because it's a kind of it's an order from the government. Everybody must be indoor, but we give ourselves challenges, both the male and the female. We take up challenges of facing 50 balls or more with a video sent to the group or to the federation, then have kids around us who can just do the thing. If we don't have a bat, we can actually look for something that looks like bat. If there is a tennis ball, or we can actually get a paper wrapped together with a sellotape and we throw it to them, then they play. That's how we train here. We move. For example, I am staying very close to my state captain. She comes to my house and a very big compound. We train together. We order each and every one of the national team players to also do the same thing. Get a challenge from them. They get the video down to the group so that they will also know that there's training going on. We cannot give this in. If you are complaining that there's no bat, no, that's not an excuse. You can get a stick that looks like bat, that is wide enough to hit a ball.
Okay.
So that's how we have been doing.
All right, thank you. While discussion was on, Mr. Yaya, Professor Yaya Okwenya, the Nigerian Cricket Federation President and the Vice Chairperson of the Africa Cricket Association, joined us. So welcome, sir. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much, IJ. Let me commend you for organizing this webinar. And I'm glad to be in your midst. Apologies, I was discussing with I had a small phone call to go through with the ATA CEO, Mr. Kasim Suleiman. So that delayed me a bit because we had some very important issues to just quickly go through before I joined the meeting.
No problem, no problem. Welcome, sir. Okay, back to you, Blessing. At what age did you start playing cricket? And how much has actually changed at that time you started and now?
Well, I think I started cricket when I was 7. At that time, I think I was in primary 4 in 2004 while I was in primary school.
So how much has changed at that time?
It was not funny. A lot have changed.
Tell us.
Change with cricket, with me involving it. At that time, I never believed that I'll come this far in life, especially when it comes to education, going to school, getting myself educated. It's all because of cricket. Cricket has done else that are involved in cricket also in Nigeria.
Okay. Omphili. Hi, Omphili. Okay, Omphili, you're the fitness expert, with us here. Tell us, and you also train the male team in your country in South Africa, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, is there any difference, between Is there any difference in terms of the kind of training you give the girls and the boys?
First and foremost, I don't have a difference in terms of gender training, because when a player comes onto my field, I see them as a cricketer. So I have the same expectations that I would have for a male as for a female. The only thing that I would really change in my approach is the level of intensity, because it has been seen that males are stronger than women, but they can still compete at the same intensity. So the way in which I train them, it helps them improve and not get any sort of incident where there are unnecessary risks of injury that will come about. So for me, it's not about male or female, it's about the abilities of a cricketer.
So at the end, you mean to say that it's the same quality, that comes out at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's definitely the same quality between both genders.
Oh, great to hear. I hope you all are listening. Eh? All right. Let's move to Lukeda. She's a journalist in Kenya, with the nation in Kenya. Hi, Lukeda. Hi, Lukeda. Are you here?
Hi,
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. How do you approach a situation whereby you come to interview a player, a female cricket player, and the player is like, okay, I'm a bit shy, I'm reserved, I don't want to talk, we'll just pass on to someone else, especially when you know the importance of media to that player, and especially to female cricket. How do you approach such a situation? We have players around here, so they'll be able to listen.
Okay, I started covering cricket last year alongside other sports that women are involved in. And what I noticed is most women are not, most players are not media trained. So when you're approaching a player to interview them, it's like they can't tell their story. They can't even narrate a match that has just ended, how they felt, what their challenges were. It's like they have nothing to say. They have one-word answers like, how was the game? The game was good. It was okay. What's your plan? What was your game plan? What can you say about your opponent? They have nothing to say. So maybe an advice I'd give to the federations, even outside Kenya, is to not only train the players in the field, but also give them this extra skills that they require. Because even when they go to play internationally, they have nothing to say about the game. And we as journalists back home, even when you are writing the story, because I write for the paper, when you want to put in the quotes, you have no quotes from the players because they had nothing to say. But when you look at the international teams, for example, I think they have been educated in some sort of way to how to handle the media. So they always have something to say.
Nice. Thank you so much. So we have about 4-5 countries here, so I'm sure everyone is listening. We have to educate, female players, not just on the pitch, not just teaching them how to play or training and all of that, but basically how to be open, how to be media friendly and all of that. Media is such an essential in female cricket. Now we have,
Because,
let's move to...
Ijoma?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Just to add on to that, because, the media plays a big role in doing, for lack of a better word, PR for these players.
Yeah.
We are the ones who are responsible for telling the public about their stories. And if they can't articulate their own stories, it becomes difficult. That is why you find, even mostly for female players, you find that it works against them because the men come out more strongly, even to the media, during the interviews compared to the females. So it pulls them back, and it also makes, like, for journalists, you don't want to cover such teams because they don't give you the psych to do it. So yeah, we can do it both in the field and also away from the field.
Yeah. Great one. Excellent point, Likita. Thank you so much. Now let's move to Sylvia. Sylvia is the former captain with the Kenyan team. Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Jama. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So, Sylvia, tell us, how big is cricket in Kenya? How big is female cricket in Kenya?
Well, to be honest, it isn't as big as I would like it to be, because it hasn't been publicized as much throughout the whole country. But it is present in a number of counties in Kenya. So at least thank God to the men's national team, especially the Kenyan team that played in 2003 and put Kenya to the top in the semifinals. It enabled the sport to be known throughout the whole country, and it also enabled women's cricket to start. But as the years have been, as the years have gone, female cricket hasn't been publicized as much, and you'll only hear about it only if there's an international match that is coming about, Kenya is taking place, and it has been put in the media. That's the only time you'll actually hear about it. And if it's not trained in schools to the kids, most girls and women would not know about it, especially those who are not present in 2003 and the earlier years when Kenya was at its peak. So yeah, still a lot of work to be done there though.
All right, thank you. We move to the president, Nigerian Cricket Federation, but he's here in the capacity of the vice chairperson, Africa Cricket Association. Hi, Mr. Okenya.
How are you, ID?
I'm fine, thank you. All right, so you granted an interview with Channels Television Tuesday or thereabout, and you talked about equal budgets, in Nigeria with regards male and female grassroots and all of that. Should we be expecting something like this, with the African body?
Yes, I think generally what we need to do with the female sport is to aggressively invest in, at least from point of view of leadership of the countries in Africa, as far as cricket is concerned. What we need to do now is some sort of a catch-up with the rest of the countries in other continents, because they are very far behind. So outside South Africa, maybe Zimbabwe. I know that Uganda have done well because I have had the opportunity of watching some of their players. And I think they had some investment. And I think we should follow the example that these countries have shown. And the way forward is to start from the grassroots level. In terms of schools, because that provides the opportunity, right from primary school to our high schools or secondary schools, as we call them in Nigeria. This is where we need to invest. And it's important that from the leadership point of view, that this investment is 50-50. That is, whatever we put into the development of the boys' cricket, the pathways we create for them, the facilities that and the equipment we provide for the girls, for the boys, we should do the same thing for the girls. And I believe that at the end of the day, then some of the problems you are seeing or that are obvious, will be something of the past. Among the problem, understanding the game. Like you have players coming forward for interviews, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say because they don't understand the game. And then again, from the media point of view, media is so important in this direction. And we want to see that the would-be journalist has learned some cricket while in school. Then it helps you to manage cricket information as a journalist a lot more if you had a background. And the solution to all this is how much investment we are putting. How many of the children, what percentage of our population of school children have had some cricket experience? This is the hard work that we need to do. Raise the standard of the men's cricket, we also raise the standard of the female cricket. that was the basis of that discussion.
Okay, so how soon should we be expecting? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so how soon, in give or take 5-10 years, how soon should we be expecting that the female cricket, you're talking about the grassroots development and all of that. How soon should we be expecting a more proper job to be done? Or just like Sylvia said in Kenya, it is only when there's a competition or the media talks about it, that's when people know there's female cricket. How soon should we be expecting to see so much talk, so much involvement, a huge development, a huge sign, when it comes to the African body with female cricket?
I can tell you that once you start and you start properly, this is bound to have an immediate impact. It's not something that would probably take a long time. Probably, it's not that there is no foundation. There is some foundation. What you need to do is sustain your investments over, sustain it continuously. So it's not like you start and start developing cricket development and stop. You need to sustain it over a long period of time. You need to see that the girls are competing all the time. The competitions are there at age grade level, and at senior level. And eventually, what you have is that the sport becomes as popular as other sports. I don't think it's something that should take us maybe 5. We're not talking about 5 years, but what we need is genuine investment in this direction. I believe that I'm sure there's some of the countries I've mentioned, some of their representatives in this seminar. Uganda, for instance, they have a huge success story to tell us about, and they can give us a lot more experience because we are learning from those kind of countries as far as Nigeria is concerned. Because female cricket in Nigeria is, you see, people like Etin, Blessing, they are the first generation. So you can imagine, she's still actively playing. They're among the first set. And we're talking about a sport that is maybe 10 to 11, 12 years old in Nigeria. Some other countries have a longer history. And probably we are not in the very best position to speak, at least for the game overall in Africa. But I believe that some of the other countries like Uganda, Kenya, their representatives, their officials will tell you about what has been, will tell you about this a lot better than myself.
Okay, thank you, South Kenya. So, Philly, cricket in South Africa is huge, really, really huge. What exactly can you attribute to the success of female cricket, and how do you engage female fans in female cricket?
Look, in terms of funds coming to women's cricket, it's not as accessible as the men's side. I think
fans. I mean fans.
Fans.
Fans. Yes, fans.
Oh, okay. So when coming to fans, it's very important for us to understand that the only way we can get fans to actually acknowledge women's cricket is if there's more exposure to the game. Exposure is only about coming up now, even though when we look at fans in terms of the men's side, to speak of cricket, the first gender that comes about to any fan's head is the male side. And we then also have to still remind the fans that we also have women who do exactly the same work and represent our country in exactly the same manner as the men do. But for those high-heart fans, should I say, of women being able to get in the platform of being recognized the way men do, we are building a good foundation for that. And it starts with people who actually know that there's cricket in the country and there's actually a platform for ladies and girls children to play cricket. Then we start working as to educating them more about how the structures fall into place to making sure that a girl child or a woman goes to play for the national team. It's still a bit rocky. Reason why I say that is because we don't have the same structures put in place for girl children to be exposed to the game at an early stage. They either fall into it by chance because they have brothers who play the game. That's how they get exposed to the game. So if we can change the way in which structures are being put into place, we can close gaps in terms of the developmental and the pipeline to making sure that the selectors have a wider variety to pick from, because there's a wider platform for the children to be exposed to.
Okay, so if you say there's a rocky foundation or structure rather, with female cricket, what would you say is making female cricket in South Africa so successful, so excellent?
It was, let me rephrase and say, not rocky foundation, but there is a foundation, but it has gaps, and in there, those gaps are the pipelines that they haven't fully put into place for girl children to play cricket. But with that being said, look, we started playing, or we started being participants in international tournaments since 1960. That was our first debut in Test cricket, and that was against England. So we have players that have been in the system and that have represented us, that are able to give back in terms of players being mentored by them. A small example is one of the players, Marsha Letswalo. She was a national player. She used to be a provincial player, and now she's in the setup where she's helping the younger players, which are girls, to flow through the system and being able to how it is done in order for them to get to being a national player. So the grassroots levels of young girl children being mentored, a lot of the ladies who have been exposed to the game, helps us as a country to understand the game via playing as a player. And obviously we having coaches that come about who now have the knowledge of the game, and they can also tap into the players and being able to coach them accordingly in terms of the experiences that they have gained as both player and as coaches.
Okay, nice one. Okay, Mr. Emeka, I will be speaking with Mr. Emeka. That's the GM of the NCF.
Okay.
Mr. Emeka, are you here? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. There have been so much talks about the return of sports, but we all know basically all that discussion is about male sports. How then do you begin? How do we say, when the ban is lifted, in Nigeria for sports to begin, how should we be expecting that female cricket will also begin at the same time, the male cricket begins?
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. What the board of the federation has done is to continue to give equal opportunity to the both genders. That means whatever we are doing for the males, we are doing for the females at the same time. Our concentration is even. So as soon as the pandemic is over, we are hoping the government is making an effort to see how things can commence maybe by October or September. The approach is to ensure that the activities that have been mapped out we have a national sports festival in focus. Before then, the two versions, the female version and the male version, they have been training. That means we're going to have the two versions of the game going on simultaneously. So the training process is the same, everything is the same. And at ACF level, we are fighting to make sure we have that 50-50 equality that has been propelled by ICC. So the effort will be made to ensure that the female version is upgraded to the level of the same of the male version. So our under 17, we have under 17 boys and girls. We have under 15. Everything, we are making sure that we don't leave the female version to suffer. So every effort we are making is to ensure that the female version is carried along. So our approach will be that we'll make sure that the female version is raised up to standard to have a very good competition moving forward.
Okay, thank you. We're expecting that, GM.
Yeah.
All right, Sylvia. Okay, hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Jama.
Nice. Okay, Sylvia, are there any challenges you feel that particularly peculiar to female cricket, or are there issues you think that needs to be addressed more, to improve the game?
Yes, I would say first, in terms of female cricket, I believe the government's involvement in terms of spreading the game, especially for women throughout the country, is very important. Just the same way they would do for other sports like football, volleyball, and the like. Not only for women cricket, but also for the men as well, because the government's involvement can help a long way. Especially during this COVID-19 situation that we are in, most sports people, if that is their only source of livelihood, they're going through a lot of problems. If you have a house if you have house rent to pay, if you have kids, and you don't have any other source of income, if the government can come in and help us, that would be really good. And they've already started. However little it has been, they've been able to support both the women and female and the men's cricket team and other sports in the country. And I applaud the Kenyan government for that. Other challenges I would say would be spreading the game in schools, starting from primary schools, going on to high schools, and also university level. Many people forget that level of education, because there are some people who may, depending on where they go to high school, they may not be able to find the game there, or if they had started in primary, they cannot be able to continue. Same case in university. And you find that you had talent in primary school, but because of not much exposure towards the game in the other levels of education, they get lost. And then trying to find new players again, it becomes a struggle, especially if there are no grassroots level structures for spreading the game up to the senior level. And then another thing I would say, I think should be implemented is sports psychology, because every individual who plays a sport undergoes a lot of mental stress while playing and mental difficulties depending on their performance. And if there's no one there to be able to guide them to know how best they can present themselves in the game, the best way they know how, depending on the times of their growth in the sport, it can really bring down a player, especially if they have so much talent, but they just don't know how to execute it the way it's supposed to. So sports psychology should really be implemented in the game. I think it's very, very important for that. Yeah.
Wow, Sylvia, thank you so much. Sports psychology. Phil, I see you nodding your head while she was talking. Do you have anything to say?
Yes, look, sports psychology it's very important. I have the privilege to say that I have done both sports psychology and strength and conditioning. And I have noticed that players don't really acknowledge that mental toughness has a big impact in their performance when they're on the field. Because sometimes they would put aside something that has happened off the field, not knowing and understanding that it will impact them when they're playing at a high pressured kind of game. So I totally understand where Sylvia is coming from, and I actually stand behind her because she was a player, I was a player. We know exactly what we need. And sports psychology is a great personal element to the game to have. I believe that if you are strong both mentally and physically, you can perform and peak whenever it is needed to, and whenever you put your mind to it. So I really, really appreciate what Sylvia just said.
All right, nice. Lukeda. Hi, Lukeda.
Hi.
Okay, covering cricket is, how do I describe it? It's not much as easy as covering football, if I'm going to use that word. How exactly do you think maybe federations or the continental level, should be able to do to ensure that journalists who cover cricket, cover it effectively, cover with ease?
What Sylvia said is even us as journalists, I think, need exposure to the game because, like in Kenya, a lot of journalists don't get to cover cricket. First of all, there's the assumption that it's very complicated. And also, the matches take a long time. To be honest, they can go on the whole day. And most journalists cover, are used to covering football, which is like 90 minutes, or tennis, like 2 hours or 3 hours. But cricket can go the whole day. And because most of them don't have the right exposure to the game, they don't even understand the game, so they stay away from it. Exposure in schools for the players and also exposure for the journalists, I think it's very important to help us in covering the game and spreading more awareness about the tournaments that go on even within the country. Because like what Sylvia said, it's only when Kenya is going to play against another country internationally is when the media pays attention to the teams. And most of the time, it's you'd get one story the whole year, and it's just mentioning that they'll be going to play, for example, Uganda or another country in Europe, is when you get to see that story. On air, the same. So journalists also need to get educated. I think these forums that we hold for journalists, I think we should start covering one sport at a time. Because also like sports like I'd mentioned tennis, not many journalists in Africa cover tennis as well because they don't understand the sport and it takes a longer time. And also the hype that is around football and volleyball and basketball goes with the fans as well. So I think that should be altered.
Okay, thank you so much, Nikita. President Ukenya.
Yes,
Hi,
I'm listening.
President.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sylvia at some point talked about, or most of the discussion has been like, there's less competition for girls, for the female and all of that. And just like Sylvia earlier said too, that you only hear female cricket when, there's a competition, more like a qualifiers, African qualifiers and all of that. I don't know. I don't think there's anything like a female cricket league in Africa. Is there anything, are there plans, to push up something like that?
Yes, definitely. This is part of the plan for growth of the game generally in the continent on both sides of the bodies that manage cricket in Africa. That is the ICC Africa and then the ACA, that is Africa Cricket Association. ICC is concerned with tournament pathways that will lead to the ICC World Cup. And there is the Africa qualifiers, and there is a little bit of a strict criteria to compete in that. So if we're going to depend only on ICC, then female cricket will not develop, because as it is, only a handful of countries can take part in the female qualifiers as it is at the moment. But Africa Cricket Association, ACA, has its own platform, and female cricket is also part of the platform, part of the scope of ACA. I can tell you that up to about 4 years ago, both ICC Africa and ACA were run concurrently by the same group of people, but there has been a separation now. What that means that there's a parallel body, and that gives us opportunity to organize more competitions on a different criteria that will give more African teams opportunity to compete. So at the moment, the ACA has struggled to get some funding to start a separate male tournament. But the female component, it's in the pipeline, as is age group ACA tournaments as well. So there is a fair chance that at a competitive continental level, we will have tournaments coming from the ACA side with a different criteria that will allow many more countries to participate in. The other side that we're happy with is that there are a number of very powerful invitationals, particularly in the southern and in the eastern side of Africa. I know that our girls have had 2 invitations. There is the Kubika from
Rwanda.
That's Rwanda.
Yeah.
Yes, that's from Sarah's country. I think I saw Sarah there. So Kubika is a very fine tournament, and we are looking forward to participate in the next available edition. There is another tournament from Malawi. This is an invitational. It's also a very good tournament, and we're also looking forward to that. I believe somewhere in Uganda and Kenya, there is also another invitational tournament. And there are also
Hello. Mr. Queen, your network is... Professor Okenya. Hi, sir. Sir, can you hear me? Hello, sir, can you hear me?
I think he's having a challenge.
I think so.
Last 2 years. Because the host, I hope you can hear me.
No, not quite.
The regular host of...
Hi, sir, maybe you can turn off your video, probably to be better.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, but not effectively enough. Maybe you can turn off your video if possible. Hello.
You can go on. You can go on with the next person.
Okay. Let's move to Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Okay. Hi, Sarah. Hi. Well done. Okay. Mr. Queen has been talked about invitationals, in your country and all of that. So great to know that Rwanda has so much in plan, so much, outlined for women cricket. Now, do you see facilities as a challenge in Rwanda? Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, it's still a challenge. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, I was saying that the facility is still a challenge for Rwanda cricket, but as they said, it has to come from the performance of the players. So that's what Rwanda cricket is doing to improve players' level of cricket, investing a lot or focusing a lot in schools and the national teams, men national team and women, so that we can reach on a level where ICC might increase the fund, and also we might get a lot of supporters, like a lot of companies or many others to join the game, because it has improved a lot.
Okay. All right, Mfili. Hi, Mfili.
Hi.
So you've played cricket to an extent, right? And now you're
Yes.
a coach. How do you, if a player approaches you to say, or rather, how easy is it for a player to get back to the team? A female player who has gone off maybe a year or two, to start a family, to nurse a baby. How easy is it for a player to get back to the team in South Africa?
Look, mental strength and mental toughness is one of the biggest components that will help a player to get back. Obviously, you then look at your physical abilities, your skills, if they are still on par with the standards of being able to play in whatever capacity that the mother or the woman that is coming back wants to play at. It is easy to do so. There are different leagues or different teams for players to get back in, those being mostly our club leagues, where we have women teams and they compete against each other. And through those games and through the stats that have been gathered, they're then also then being able to move to a provincial level, and then also being able to get in the opportunity to play for the country. So it is quite easy, especially you have your mental toughness and your physical abilities to make it back to the standard of playing that is required.
Okay, thank you. Musa, is Musa here? Musa Hizuji, he's the PRO, Nigerian Cricket Federation.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Good
hi Musa.
afternoon.
Good
Hi.
afternoon, Musa. Okay, Musa is also the president of our country's coaching and umpire, association in cricket. Musa, so what is the engagement like, when it comes to female umpires and record and scorers rather?
Thank you very much, Ijoma. Basically, to put something straight, I'm just the president for the Umpires Association here in Nigeria. What I would like to say is that when it comes to female cricket, we all have been talking about playing, raising players, grassroots. We also need to understand that there are other aspects of cricket for female that can also grow the numbers. For example, officiating is a very, very key part of cricket. Nothing can happen in cricket without officiating. And there's a mandate from the International Cricket Council that as much male involvement in cricket, you should also have that for female, which brings the fact that not every female cricketer you find at grassroots level will be able to play for state, country, or the national team. But they can be very important when it comes to officiating, to become umpires. And that is one area that is very, very deficient right now in cricket in the whole world. For example, there's nothing bad in a female tournament have all female umpires or 60% of female umpires make up the numbers for female cricket as a whole. So in Nigeria, what we try to do is we've had a graded system where we try to bring ex players and those players who may not be able to eventually get to that level, to bring them into the officiating. During the World Cup, I was in South Africa, and I discovered that all the scorers, majority of the scorers and those on the PRO system are actually female, and they are involved in the game. And so you get to find out that they have a very, very special place. Scoring is a very important part. The female have taken over that department. So every other country in Africa, while you're looking to develop umpires in terms of male, you should also bring in the female gender. And the pathway for them to become successful in terms of career as a woman is way, way shorter than a man. For example, now, for me to become an elite umpire, I may have to do 30 years in the business with ICC. But for female, one very good tournament, one very good exposure can give you that limelight. And in a few years, you can be up there. So you may not necessarily get a career from playing, but being an official, you can also make as much impact as a player. So I think that is a very key aspect. Like I said, in Nigeria, for junior tournaments and for every tournament that we have female, we make sure we include female umpires. They are exposed to as much training as the male umpires. They are exposed to as much materials as the male umpires. And at some point, where if they are even given preferences for female game. Now, in terms of education, I can tell you in Nigeria now we have a female umpire that has a level 1 ICC um, certification. And before now, you didn't think that was possible. And now she has it. We have about 4 or 5 who wants to also take that examination and be graded. And some have come forward to say, look, I can't play this game. It's too stressful for me. It's too physical. I don't want to look like a man. But however, I think I like to officiate and I want to score. So I think that is an aspect we should also key up in trying to make up the numbers and bring quality to the game as well. Thank you, Joma.
Yeah, thank you, Musa. All right, then I think it's going to go across all players. Let's begin with Blessing Etim. Hi, Blessing. Hi, Blessing.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Blessing. Yeah, Blessing, you've been in the team for a very long time. So what would you tell a player who comes up to tell you that, listen, I think I have to go on a break, you know, I probably want to get married, I want to have children. What would you tell that player?
Well, it's going to depend on what our reasons are. Just as you said, maybe she wants to get married, have children. Some of them can come up with, I want to focus with my education, or I want to go learning of job. For example, I'm a coach in Akwa Ibom State. I know a couple of my players who are learning handwork right now. And when they tell me they want to learn work, I say, okay, that's fine. It's a good idea. I go with her, I see the boss, I communicate with the boss and plead with her that, please, just once in a week, can you just give her that chance to attend training, even if it's once or twice? You know, you build the relationship between the boss and yourself so that she will get that opportunity to continue the game while she's still learning whatsoever she wants to learn. So I do that often, and I have about 2 of them who are learning handwork and who I also have personal relationship with their boss, and it will help them stay back in the game also. And anytime there is tournament, I go to the boss, I explain everything to her, and she will like, okay, no problem. And I'll take her, and she'll give me a resumption date that she has to resume so day, and I'll agree with that. So that makes that player to passion for the game. You leave the game without telling your coach that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. You understand? But when you have love for this game, you have passion for it, you want to continue, You don't want any other thing to hinder you from playing this game. You come up with that. I help them in doing anything they want to do and still playing the game. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Blessing. Mean that no matter how far the players go, you expect that the passion should still be ignited. Nice one, Blessing. All right, Sylvia, what do you think?
I agree very well with Blessing, because majority of my teammates, or most of those who I know, they have families. They all went through the same issue, whereby their bosses had to be communicated to when it came to training, and also when it came to playing tournaments. As for having families, some of them just ended up maybe pregnant, but that doesn't mean that they cannot come back to the game. Just as the same way as Omphila said, it depends on mental toughness and mental strength. But if your coaches are able to assist you with your boss, for example, if you are to have to go and speak to them, just the same way as Blessing was doing for the players, it's really good, so that the bosses can be able to know that this person is doing this and they're leaving work maybe a number of days during the week for a tournament or something. But if they don't communicate, that is where the problem comes in. Also, the sport should be able to allow women to have that freedom to choose, in the sense of, when a woman feels like it's time to have a family, there has to be a way that the organization can be able to encourage women to still be able to do what they're naturally brought to this world to do, and still be able to have a pathway to come back and be supported to come back. There was this advert I saw by Nike, I think sometime last year, where female athlete runners had signed contracts, and there was an issue with giving birth during the time of their contract, in that if you became pregnant during that time of your contract, it was not allowed for you to be pregnant during the time for your contract. And it was such a huge problem that some of those athletes had to come to the media and say, we have a right to give birth and still come back. You can't just let our endorsements go and all just because of giving birth. Giving birth is not a sin. It is part of life. And so there should be a way, in not only in cricket, but in sports in general, to encourage women to still have families, but still be able to come back and play and guided until when they are unable to and decide to maybe leave the sport. But that's what I think should be done, in my opinion. Yeah.
All right, Sarah. Your turn, Sarah.
Yes, what I can say about that is we have dealt with the same issues as that one of Kenya and Nigeria. Like, I think it's all the same in the region in Africa, where you find that when ladies reach on their in their 24 years or 25, they start thinking that they are old to still be engaged in sports and running and everything, thinking about getting married and only care about their families. But when you go in those big countries, you will find that there are some women who play in their 40s and 30s and they still play well. I think we should also start thinking about how we can do sport and still take care of our family, still do our duties at home, and do sports as well as others do. Because if you do sports also, you will get healthy, and we really need it. The mothers need it, and we need the support from our husbands too, and from the federations as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Is Professor Okunya still around? Can't see him. Okay. Hello, sir. Professor Okunya. Probably he's not here. Okay, let's move back to Mr. Emeka Igbilo. Okay, Mr. Emeka, now, how do we, with just the Nigerian perspective, how should we create female, more female fans, follow cricket?
Yeah, thank you. Creating more female fans, I think is a very big asset for the game. Just like Musa mentioned, in terms of having female umpires, engagement of the female umpires, female scorers, invariably will attract more people to the game. Now, by the time you have more female competitions, you are getting the entire family to be part of the game. Because if a female player is going for an engagement, the family will try to support her, and that is a way of building fan base. And there are some companies that have interest in female development. They also support that. And the idea of the UNO and even ICC is pushing every country to buy into the 50-50 balance of development of both male and female competition. So by the time you also push the female version and get that attractive, you are invariably getting more supporters, because once you have a female competition, you be sure that you have the family coming there to watch. Be sure you have the male supporters. If it's a person, just like they're talking about marriage, the children are there. Everybody is engaged when it comes to female participation. So we need to leverage on what is happening even in Europe on where they are attracted to female competitions. I think it's something we need to do to use it to increase the fan base, because fans are very important to the development of the game, especially the female version. So that's what we need to leverage on.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sylvia, at this point, hi, Sylvia.
Yes, hey.
At this point of female cricket in Africa, do you think we should be talking about the disparity in pay, for both male and female?
Oh, sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Okay, I mean, at this point, this point of development of female cricket in Africa, is it safe? Is it the right time to be talking about disparity in pay, for both sides?
Like equal opportunities of pay
Yeah,
for both women and men.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I believe it's the right time, because if you compare Africa and other continents like Europe, the women there have contracts, they're being paid, maybe not as in terms of percentages high as that of the men, but equally they are being paid for them to be able to have families, to be able to pay their dues, and also to develop themselves. But if you compare with Africa, there are some countries that don't have contracts still. Like we, as the Kenya women's team, we're not contracted. And neither is the other East African countries that I know are contracted. Perhaps most probably just Zimbabwe and South Africa that I know are contracted. So I think it's about time that women should be equally seen as potential professionals in the sport and be regarded as that and be paid. Even if it doesn't amount to the same percentage as that of men, it should be started all over the continent regardless. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Sylvia. Mr. Okoye, you're back. Great. Hi, Mr. Okoye.
I think he's having a problem with his network. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been on and off. Can you hear me now?
Not quite.
Yes, please.
Not quite, but you can hear us clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was
It's
going to
the
ask.
network problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we manage it? Hello, sir.
He's breaking, so you can move to the next.
Okay. I would like you to just share a few thoughts on feeling. Just tell us what from what Sylvia has just talked about. That is high time for us to talk about contracts
Yes,
and all of
I
that.
am managing. I'm doing quite well. I can hear you guys.
Okay,
Can you
maybe you just
hear
follow up.
me? Yes.
Yeah, we are
Okay,
struggling
go
too, so
ahead.
maybe you just follow up. We are struggling, with your connection, so you just follow up. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I can manage if you
Okay.
can hear me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how do you manage? How do you manage? How do you manage? We are struggling, honestly. Okay, but then, hello, can you, Professor Okoya, are you still there? Okay, let's go to Umfili. Umfili,
It is important. Okay.
Okay, let's just be done with Umfili. We hope that your connection will keep you safe still with us. Okay, so Umfili, Sylvia just talked about that is right time for us to discuss women contracting. Right. At your time, playing, what do you say? I know. How is it like in South Africa? Contract and all of that, because I'm sure it's a huge one in South Africa with cricket.
With contracts, so there are only a set number of contracts given to women players. And then they have more spots that have been put out for the players that come up developmental wise and are fit enough and able to play for the country. So a lot of the girl children or the ladies who play provincially or even in the academy, they strive to get a contract because then it means that they are able to represent the country more than once. And for me, I do agree with what Sylvia says when she says that it is time for us women cricketers to be treated as professional players, because I mean, we do have a female team that is representing the country. So therefore, we need to be acknowledged and be paid our due because we are representing the country. It doesn't mean that because this is what I have heard from a lot of spectators saying that women play slower than the men, but they don't understand that that is not the case. The case is we have different strengths. They want women to play more sixes and more fours, whereas women concentrate on your singles and your double runs. And that's where everything needs to be understood, that even though you might see the game as slow, we are just as professional and we carry ourselves just as highly as the men do, you know? So that's where I see it and where I come from. And I fully stand with Sylvia saying it is high time that we are given full contracts. I mean, Australia has done it and nobody has said otherwise, because they can see the level of professionalism and intensity is but the same standard as the men's. So I don't see anything different in that.
Oh. Wow, Mpili, so there are cricket academies in your country?
Yes, so what happens is they have cricket academies for the women's side. So they get selected to called up into an academy side. This is where the pipeline is then taken for Cricket South Africa or anybody else to see where they are in terms of the developmental side of it. And they then have a certain bar or level to work with. And from there, you will obviously get the players that stand out, and they do get the opportunities then to shadow, should I say, the senior team, and play under them and learn from what the senior team is doing, so that they can eventually not just being called up from the academy side, but also being called up into the senior side. For example, Nadine de Klerk, she plays for South Africa. Another example is
Mpile. Mpile, I think we've lost her. Okay, hi, Mpile. Okay, we're coming to an end, of the session anyway. Since
Masabata class, when she was injured, she had to go to the academy.
Hi, Mpile, can you turn off your video? Maybe we can hear you better. Mpile.
Oh.
Yeah, we're struggling with. Can you turn off your video? We're struggling with hearing you.
Turn off your video.
Okay, let me turn my video off.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Is that better?
Okay. Yeah, better. So, with all this you've said, with all of that you've said, I was wondering, and I actually thought to myself, when should we see the Proteas win the T20 Women's World Cup?
Pardon, can you repeat the question?
I said, with all that's going on, with female cricket in South Africa, how soon, should we see the Proteas win the T20 Women's World Cup?
Well, we got to the semi-finals, so it means that we are on the right track. The one side that I think that we can concentrate more on for the future is more the mental toughness side. This is where players are then conditioned mentally to be able to deal with the pressures that they will account during them playing in such big stages. The young upcoming ones, they need to also be taken through the process of being able to acknowledge and be self-aware and also game aware. So for the fact that we got to semi-finals, it means that we're on the right track. I think now the only thing that kind of let us down in the semi-finals is our mental strength. And once we've gotten that right, and we maintain and improve where it needs to be maintained and improved in our fitness sides, then everything will work out perfectly and we'll be able to get to finals and maybe even winning the World Cup.
Yeah, okay. We have a few questions from some of our participants. I don't know, is Suji still here? Suji from Rwanda.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Suji, it's your time.
Yes, I didn't have a question. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity and my fellow sports ladies. I just wanted to echo what Sylvia had said about psychology. And for where I'm sitting, if we can take care of girl child, mentorship, of course, right from the under 15, instead of waiting until they hit the national teams, so that we can get them, the psychology and yes, everything else. If you look at the African culture, of course, you have cultures, and the reason why sometimes I think we lose it is if you look at the other countries, they have the subjects of psychology, and PE, whereby yes, I think the students go through that PE and psychology. And if in our African, setup, maybe, of course, we lack that. So, so my input here is if we can build them with, I mean, mentors, if it's right from, I mean, the under 15 level. And yes, as they grow, and of course, we have, I mean, a big turnovers in, I mean, the ladies cricket, because, I mean, they have, I mean, they get children, I mean, they get married, then of course they have, I mean, a husband who maybe, of course, never played sports, which comes in that one, I don't think we have control of. So if you can just make sure that we have a big base by, I mean, getting the mentors in and trying to help them with the, I mean, mental strength as early as possible. I'm sure yes, we'll have very good players yes, moving forward. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Suji. Nice, thank you so much. Okay, Isakan is also one of the participants. Isakan from Australia. Isakan, are you still with us? Okay, I guess he's no longer here. So I think we're gonna call this a wrap. Professor Kenya, his network has been something else, so we can do this without him. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. But then these are some of the points, the highlights of our discussion. So I'll just, read them out. We've talked about sports psychology, and Mr. Suji just talked about it now, the need for sports psychology and probably having mentors for the underage grade levels. We also talked about, Sylvia talked about the pathway, a pathway for which women could get back to sports outside, after marriage or nursing or after just anything. A great pathway for women to come back to sports is a huge one. We should take that up after this discussion. We also talked about women contracts. There's a need for women contract at this point for women to be treated like professionals. Yeah, we should talk about that greatly. We also talked about 50-50 balance, in terms of budgeting for both male and female cricket in Africa. So it's a huge one. We'll be looking up to the ACA president and the NCFGM, for for stuff like that. So we'll be expecting that. We also talked about the presence of a female league, in Africa where, so that we don't just wait for qualifiers, continental world qualifiers and all of that before, there's anything like female cricket. We also talked about how to project female fan base, so that the more we have girls play cricket, the more we have girls watch cricket, follow cricket, we'll have more girls to play cricket. And then cricket can now compete in some of these countries against football, as one of their key sports. I think that's about how we talked about. We also talked about the importance of media for athletes, for cricket players especially, So it's the duty of the federations to also try to educate, some of these players to be able to, not shy away from media, to be media friendly and to tell their own stories their way. Thank you, Lukada, for letting us know about that. Am I missing any other thing? And I don't know if there's any of our participants who also have questions because we're about rounding up. If none, any? Hi, Vixen, anybody?
Hi. Can
Is
you
anyone?
hear me?
Oh, yes, I can.
All right. I just have 5 tips for every player and every coach to pass down to everybody who's getting back into the game and fitness-wise and being able to get back to training. And I think these are the 5 aspects that we all need to keep in mind and also ponder on. So the first one would be, we need to have a positive mindset that we're going back into the game that we love. Secondly, we need to get back into our normal routines where training is involved. Yes, it might not be exactly the same as it used to be before the pandemic hit, but we need to try and normalize the routine that we're getting back into our fitness positions. Thirdly, we need to have a consistent developmental focus on the bigger picture. So the bigger picture is that we're getting back to playing cricket or just playing sports in general. And with that being in mind, we always have to celebrate the small achievements through getting back to our fitness. And through that, which is the fourth point, that's where we need to set our own personal targets and objectives to making sure that we get back to where we were before we went into the pandemic. And most importantly, we need to enjoy every single moment in being able to get back to being our fit selves and being able to compete and play the game that we love so much. So I think those 5 pointers will help us as cricketers, as sports men and women, to get back to playing the game that we love so much.
Great tips, Mphile. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need to set personal targets at this point and objectives, you know. With or without COVID-19, we have to, life goes on, we still have to move on. Thank you so much, Mphile.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, so let's get back to GM. GM, any final words? Mr. Emeka.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. The final word, I think I will thank the coaches. I want to recognize the coaches who are here. I can see Martin Suji, I can see Clive Obemi, I can see even the team managers. A lot of countries allowed their coaches and team managers to be part of it, because anything that concerns the female version, for now we are having mostly male coaches training the female teams. I know in future, in the next 10 years or less than that, we'll start having female coaches who take care of the female teams. So just to commend everybody that have participated in this webinar. We'll have people. I'm quite happy with the experiences shared by South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and every other country that is here. It's quite encouraging, and we're learning a lot. Let's continue to see how we promote female cricket, because it's a virgin land, and the earlier Africa takes position, the better for us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Okwenya, Professor Okwenya, I see you're back.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's been terrible for me. Sometimes I get to hear you guys. Sometimes the network just goes haywire. But it's wonderful. I want to commend you on this initiative, bringing our girls and the supporters and the backers of the female cricket in the continent together. Like you've been told, is an area we need to work very hard, everybody. Yeah. One of the key issues that I want us to remember is that once you have a career in cricket, you have a right to be paid. Because, I mean, that if you commit your life to cricket means that you don't have enough time to take any other career, and you are entitled to your salaries. And I'm sure many of the national federations in Africa are looking forward to seeing how we can make sure that our players, not only the boys, but the girls, are properly remunerated, and that they can attend to their responsibilities. I know there are a lot of packages, like different kinds of support. I know in Nigeria, we look at it from different angles, sometimes as supporting school fees, scholarship, and things like that. Those are ongoing. What is important is for our girls to compete a lot more. We want to see that there are a lot more competitions. So the bilaterals should be encouraged. We continue to encourage the bilateral competitions. We continue to encourage the invitationals. And we hope that what ACA is planning for the girls come to pass very soon. I've been talking to my people to make sure that at least as soon as the boys tournaments get on the way, the girls tournaments, ACA tournaments also get on the way. Because the more we play, the better we'll become. So I want to wish everybody a wonderful day and thank the organizers and the participants for the efforts they put in. I want to commend everyone for all the time they've committed to the program. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Thank you, President. Thank you so much. Lokeda, let's hear from you. Any final words?
Thank you so much for this platform, Ijoma. I think it was needed as sports resume worldwide. We hope that even here in Kenya, the bans will be lifted soon enough for sports to go on. But I'd also encourage us to always create awareness for cricket, because it has not gotten the awareness that it deserves. And just to echo what has been mentioned before, let's have more and more tournaments, because I think the tournaments are the ones that are lacking. So if we have more interactions through tournaments, have our teams meet differently throughout the year, whether it's a friendly or not, I think it's very important, because that's how we also attract fans, because even the journalists would want to know what is going on. Kenya has traveled to Nigeria, or Nigeria has come to Kenya to play a friendly match. I think that's important for us to grow the game as we resume sports after Corona.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. You're nodding. Sylvia, I see you nodding. You know.
Yes.
What do you have in mind?
Yes, I was agreeing very much with Lokeda. Thank you so much, first of all, for creating this platform. It's amazing that women's cricket can be discussed in this level, and about the future requirements to spread the game. And all I just hope is whatever we've discussed here will be able to be implemented in the future. I know Rome was not built in a day, but we can start step by step to realizing what we discussed here. And I know one day we'll be having a different discussion, and we'll be saying, hey, we were one of the people who are involved in bringing all this to come together. So yeah, thank you so much for everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Okay, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Maybe move to Blessing. Blessing, any final words? Your turn.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Ijoma, for this wonderful platform. I really want to appreciate your effort on whosoever that put hands together to create this. So we see ourselves as liability, and I think with this platform, with this discussion, we are on top of the world right now. I am very, very happy to be here and to hear from other discussants about how and the plans they are having for female cricket. With time, we will achieve our aim. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this of this session, of this discourse. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Special thanks to Rich Sintete. Thank you so much, Rixin. You really helped out greatly. Thank you. I see a lot of people here. I see Coach Ute Ubimi. Thank you so much for joining. I see Mr. Suji. I see Cynthia Gochuku. I see Jamal. Thank you so much. I see Paddy. Thank you so much. I see Georgina. Thank you so much. I see Umfile Meimula, or thereabout. Sorry. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone. Hopefully, we'll be able to connect. We'll keep talking. More about this. Social media handles. Maybe Twitter, WhatsApp, or however. Hopefully, we'll keep talking about this. So thank you. We're going to call this a wrap. Thank you so much. Maybe, I don't know, I'd like the president to just say something, the Nigerian Care Federation.
Thank you, Ijoma.
Just and help us end the discussion.
Well, let me say that I wish everybody a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And let's continue to enjoy the cricket. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, thank you, Justin.
Let's welcome.
Thank you, Jamal.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Mr. Emeka. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Igwe, the people of Nigeria, Igwe, as they say.
Suji, I had you. Suji, when will you come to Nigeria?
Bye,
Suji.
You know the talk.
See you guys.
Bye.
Take care. I look for you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Suji.
Thank
you.
Suji. Thank you.
Bye, Musa.
God bless.
Anytime. Bye. Take care.
Well done,
Yeah. You
well
still
done,
see your friends
Ijoma.
there?
Thank you so
Take,
much.
take care.
Suji, how connected are you still with your friends? Tom Ticolo, Martin Suji, all of you. Thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Ashanti. How do you say it in
Karibu, go.
Yeah.
I had to come.
Thank you.
Right, cheers,
you.
guys. Cheers.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.